The Canadian Emergency Response Benefit, desperately needed by so many people over the last couple of months. But now, as things are getting more back to normal, there's a question. Is the CERB preventing people from going back to work? Do some people prefer to cash that check, which may be bigger than what they would make if they went back to work at this point? Now, anecdotally, we have heard that, right, from a couple of businesses. You've probably seen those stories in the news, which is why I thought it interesting that the federal Conservatives have a proposal to deal with that issue. And we are going to hear more about that proposal right now from Andrew Scheer, Conservative Party leader, who joins us. Thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show.
Have you been hearing stories like that too? Do you think this is tough for some employers out there?
It's tough for some employers for sure, but it's also tough for many workers who have to make a very difficult decision. There are many people who work in, say, the service industry where they pick up shifts throughout the month. And if they find themselves, say, in the 10th or 11th of the month and they've already earned $950, if they accept a couple of extra shifts, then they'll lose their entire CERB benefit. And it may be the case that later on in the month they don't get those shifts offered because, as we know, it's taking a while for businesses to open and restaurants have to operate at half capacity and things like that. So our back-to-work bonus will allow them to keep 50 cents on every dollar from the CERB that they earn by going back to work and picking up those shifts. So everybody's better off under our proposal.
Okay, so then how would that work? Essentially, they would use the CERB as a top-up?
Well, essentially what they would get is on their first $1,000, they would keep 100% of their CERB. And then for every dollar that they earn after that, instead of losing everything under the Liberal plan, they would keep 50% of the CERB benefit. So that means that they don't have to worry about picking up those extra shifts. If they earn $1,500 in a month, they don't have to worry about losing that benefit. They can keep 50% of it. And under our proposal, it will always pay more to work. People will always be better off for having picked up those shifts. And one thing we're hearing from a lot of small business owners is that it's difficult to convince some workers to come back because of the uncertainty about whether or not the business will stay open or whether or not they'll have the same customer base that they had before. So we're in a very strange situation here in many areas in Canada where we have very high unemployment rates because of the shutdown, but also a bit of a labor shortage in many industries. So our proposal will help solve that problem.
Right. Okay. So how can you make that proposal a reality? Is the government at all receptive to this?
Well, this is thing very frustrating. From the beginning of this pandemic, we have been putting forward constructive solutions to this Liberal government. And unfortunately, they have ignored many of them. We know that there are major problems with the wage subsidy. Less than a third of the dollars that were made available for businesses to access that program have been used. Many businesses don't qualify for it. Many small businesses, owner-operators. We know that there are problems with the small business loan program and many others. So we're going to be pushing the government very hard on this throughout the week to create the public awareness of what we're proposing in the hopes that the government finally takes action to solve this problem.
Is it possible to partner with another party, though, to get this done?
Well, yeah, we are talking to the other opposition parties. When in a minority parliament, if you can get other parties on side, it's more likely to get things accomplished. We
Right.
believe that some of the other parties have expressed interest in this. We're going to continue our talks with them. The frustrating thing, though, right now is that Parliament isn't sitting. We wanted full Parliament to come back so that these types of legislative fixes can be proposed, not just by the government, but by other opposition parties as well. And with the Liberals shutting down Parliament during this pandemic, that's very difficult to do. So we really have to create the public awareness and the demand so that Justin Trudeau makes this fix and helps get people back to work and businesses to stay open.